313watkins.com. Streaming on Roku.
If you enjoy the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.
Good day, Grand Rising. Welcome to another show. Excuse me, I'll be sneezing. Welcome to another show of Politics or Politrics You Decide with Tula Cabone and Brother Justin Barnett. Justin's not here today. He's at home. He had to work today. So I want to say, as always, if you hear the sound of my voice, God has blessed you to see another day. Prayers go up, blessings come down. Let's say amen. Give a shout out to Brother R.J. Watkins and Brother Henry Tyler for being the brainchild of this operation called WHPR 88.1 FM, 107.5 FM, WGPR HD3. Shouts out to Miss Maxine and Miss Michelle as well. And all of the listeners who's listening, thank you. And to the callers, 313-365-7379, 313-365-7379. And we are asking people to donate to the radio. So particularly if you are donating on my shows, when you send the money to Cash App, highlight the fact that you're donating to Politics or Politrics You Decide and or to Real Talk with Tula Cabone. We need that to be distinguished. And I don't care if you donate $2, $1, 50 cents. We're asking people to donate so we can keep this show on air. And I'm saying it as simple as that. So please donate. Again, Real Talk with Tula Cabone or Politics or Politrics You Decide. And if you want to send the money, send to 160 Victor Street, Highland Park, Michigan. What's the zip code, Ms. Tyler? 48203. 48203. There's no doubt in my mind that we must recognize and realize that black radio is a necessity, particular at this particular hour and this particular time. So again, I'm going to say it one more time for people to donate. I'm always seeing people say they see the show and they love the show, which I enjoy myself. But at some point, we got to pick up the mantle and be a contributor to our own success. So again, please donate to the show and let's get started. So I want to start out by saying, if you have your mail-in ballot, please send the mail-in ballot in. You got to the Friday before the day of election to send your mail-in ballot in. And if you don't send it in then, you have to the day before. I mean, if you don't have it in by the Friday before the election, then you have to drop off the mail-in ballots to your location of where your voting station is. So I'm asking people, if you have your mail-in ballots, to please send your mail-in ballots in so your vote will count. So I was talking to somebody that was not African American and somebody that they talk with me on the side. They happen to be Bangladesh. And the way he and I'm saying it that way, explained it to me that he know, and I'm going to put it out here. He know people that are Bangladesh that's running for office that told him that if they are elected, they have an interest of only looking out for the Bangladesh people, but they're asking for the votes of African Americans and everybody else. He told me that it turned him off, that this particular person had particularly stated that to him because he didn't believe in, culture superiority as far as voting. And it made me understand the importance of having people in office who have our interests. We need to be real about this. All skin folks ain't kin folks. Why am I saying that? Because all our people don't think like that. They think in terms of what's in their best interest as individuals, even though they happen to be black. What's going on, man, is that we have to be reintroduced to reality and understand that we must have somebody represent our interests. So I want to play a video of what Charlie Kirk said about black people. And we're going to just go from there to get you to like understand why it's important that we either have somebody that's African American or black that represent all black people, including African Americans, or somebody that's not black that's willing to fight for our cause in a real way. So let's go play it, Ms. Tyler. I appreciate it.
The problem is, if you listen to the quotes of Charlie Kirk, and particularly with regard to quotes with regard to black women, but not only those quotes, that's problematic. And it's also problematic when you have constituents who don't know all the details of all of this stuff. They've seen the clip reels of Charlie Kirk. There was another one that came out last night that Tara Setmeyer put out there that was just running the things that he has said over the years. That is hard to explain to your constituents who are seeing this person on social media say negative things, very biased things, very racist things about members of the black community.
I actually want to play that so people can actually hear for themselves. So this is what she posted on Twitter last night.
One more thing that's on my mind tonight, and conservatives everywhere, the idea that people are saying, well, he was an extremist, or he was a racist, or he was a Nazi, or a misogynist, whatever. Charlie Kirk was a mainstream conservative Republican. He had views that are held by tens of millions of people, including more than half the country in the last election.
If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. It begs the question, when you see a black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. And in the spirit of affirmative action, we have Ramon and Cadillac are your two pilots. They've never flown before, but they are black. If I'm dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know you do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously.
The war on white people continues.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
We are raising a generation of weak people like Simone Biles.
LeBron James is a self-interested, narcissistic, and we know he's not very smart.
You're representing your nation. You're selfish sociopath.
Not very bright, not wise, not somebody of good character.
She is a shame to the country.
Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. Data shows they were actually better in the 1940s.
Let's get loud for Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm also going to offer some context and some nuance about the death of George Floyd that no one dares to say out loud, which is that this guy was a scumbag.
Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Now, does that mean it deserves to die? That's two totally different things. Of course not.
Prowling blacks go around for fun to go target white people. That's a fact.
There's no such thing as white privilege or racism. So
Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. Black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did. So what are you going to do, cancel me? Black people are allowed to say, black people are allowed to say,
I'm a grown man, I got way
black
too much
people are allowed. Skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King.
this guy is not worthy of a national holiday.
There's a mythology around MLK that does not warrant the reverence that he gets treated with in America.
We have a federal holiday to a guy that talked about race all the time.
Kirk describes King as, quote, a bad guy. It's true.
We celebrate the Civil Rights Act more than the American founding.
The country made a mistake when it passed the Civil Rights Act. Also true. The Democrats are not lifting a finger to remember the well over 100 people that have died in Texas Hill Country. The death toll likely would not have been as high if it wasn't for DEI. Ketanji Brown Jackson is what your country looks like on critical race theory. You're going to remove my appendix and you're a black lesbian. Ketanji Brown Jackson is an embodiment of the tyranny that we currently live in. She's an ideological, unintelligent, yet confident fanatic. Why does Kirk believe passing the Civil Rights Act was a mistake? Now, again, apparently they don't listen to the show because we do that at least once a week, right? So she wants to be the first ever black woman on the Supreme Court, yet she won't even admit that she's a woman. The transgender movement is an introductory phase. These doctors need to be put in prison to get you to strip yourself of your humanity. A Nuremberg-style trial to mesh with machines. Interestingly, I think there is an argument to bring back the MRS degree. Reject feminism. Young women need to get married at a younger age and start having kids. I'm studying sociology. No, you're not. We know why you're here. Submit to your husband, Taylor. You're not in charge. You will find a husband if you have the intent to find a husband. You got to change your name. If not, you don't really mean it.
Democrat women want to die alone without children.
A lot of them are on birth control too, and birth control really screws up female brains, by the way.
It's really rich. I didn't know women not to complain 50 years ago. That's funny. We should tell them to stop freezing their eggs and start finding their partner earlier and have lots of babies.
Every single one of you need to make sure that your loved ones are not on birth control.
So materially insane to think that 1 in 5 American women will be raped in their life.
It is. I agree.
No, meaning that they're lying about being raped.
You're comparing abortion to the Holocaust.
Absolutely, I am. In fact, it's worse. It's worse.
Because Jewish donors have been the #1 funding mechanism of radical, open border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist policies. By the way, this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. It should be public. It should be quick. It should be televised. At what age should you start to see public execution?
16. I think you could do it earlier. I think you maybe at age 12.
I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. A lot. I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled, Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
The Democrat Party believes everything that God hates.
We're dealing with maggots, vermin, and swine here. These are not good people. They're not even a little bit good. In fact, I know people that went to Haiti passively as agnostic atheists, and they came back searching for Jesus because they saw legit demonic activity. Kamala Harris wants to see the elimination of the United States of America.
Democrat Party supports everything that God hates.
There's not much you can do, folks. You have a government that hates you. You have a traitor as president. Buy weapons. I keep on saying that. As top Republicans reject any link between GOP rhetoric and Paul Pelosi assault. If some amazing patriot out there in San Francisco wants to really be a midterm hero, someone should go and bail this guy out. Native-born Americans, you better buy weapons, everybody. Have a lot of guns at your disposal. I would never leave your home without a weapon.
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. We actually need looser gun laws because I think that Oh, yeah.
They said we have more guns at the Turning Point HQ than you could imagine. Yeah, if anyone ever tries to come, that will not end well. Oh, no. Imagine the world without Joy Reid. Imagine the world without Sheila Jackson Lee or Michelle Obama or Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I am channeling the emotions of millions of conservatives who are angry. They knew Charlie. They loved Charlie. They viewed Charlie as a mainstream conservative Republican.
Wow.
That said it all, Lauren.
Yes, it did. One of the reasons why we haven't.
So that's Charlie Kirk. And what the sister go on to say on there, one of the reasons we hadn't seen that part of Charlie Kirk, because mainstream media won't play that part wouldn't play and still don't play that part of Charlie Kirk, right? And that's why independent radio like this and Roland Martin and other shows that depict him correctly is important. So let me give you the education of Charlie Kirk. In 2015, Kirk enrolled in community college part-time at King's Community College in New York, taking online classes, and he dropped out. Charlie Kirk had the nerve to criticize Sheila Jackson Lee, educated, Michelle Obama, educated, Harvard educated, Kamala Harris, who went to HBCU, and he educated Joy Reid, who I think graduated from Harvard. But in his mind, his racist mind, I'm going to call it what it is, he thought that he was better than them because society had brainwashed him to believe that. And so when I don't see anybody going full force that's in the Democratic Party outside of black people and some whites, some, criticizing him, I have to say, hey, we need somebody to represent us. This is why I have a problem with people not willing to put black women in power just because they're black women. Their ability to function is, or their ability to be a politician is unquestionable. You cannot go to Harvard or graduate at an HBCU or be in the political arena and be effective and be a dummy. So we let somebody tell us that dropped out of a community college, King Community College in New York, about the intellect of black women or what it means to be intellectual. Stop it. Stop it. And when I don't see anybody criticize that, or they say things about black women because they are black women, you diminish them when you call them uninspiring or ineffective. I have a problem with that. I had a problem with you not wanting to put Kamala Harris in as the president, and you create all these false theories about her that the Republican Party also is affected by. I have a problem with that. When I hear people say that, oh, I didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she believed in LGBTQ, she didn't create that. And I say, well, do you know about the log cabin Republicans that formed in like 1975? They gay Republicans? What, you think gay people, Republicans ain't gay? Your president plays YMCA every chance he get. That's a gay anthem for gay people. They said Scott Bassett is a legend. He's gay. He's married to. He's a Trump administration. Peter T. So I go on and on. Why don't you just say, hey, I really didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because she's a black woman. Then when I see people take sound bites out of what she said about, I'm just not going to do nothing for black people. There's a whole thing before that, and I'll play it next week. She particularly said, oh, I'm going to do reparation. It's going to benefit everybody else. And the way she said it after that was, so people don't took the part out where she said, I'm just not going to do, and they playing that sound bite. Now, what has Trump done for black people, for all those who didn't vote that was black? Because you was mad at Kamala Harris, or let me be clear, Kamala Harris got 92% of the black women vote. This is what's stated. She got 79% of the black man. So she got a great percentage of the black vote. Trump got 8% of the black women, 21% of the black man. I think it was estimated as 500,000 votes that Trump got from black people because of misinformation. A lot of us didn't vote because we believed that it was better to vote the couch than vote for Kamala Harris. We got caught up in these culture wars that, well, I don't want to vote for the Democrats. I would let Trump get in there, and look where we at. We in trouble. We have to wake up and realize that we have to put somebody in there that cares about the interests of black people. Period. I don't care and what we got to stop doing is when somebody don't have a track record or doing stuff for us, we have to say, okay, well, you know what? Wait your chance in line, because this ain't the time for you. We are in hard times. Trump, I was talking to Mr. Tyler, Trump is finna do a speech tonight about voting. And if you think he got people coming to Michigan to monitor the elections. I'm gonna tell you the three areas they're coming to, if I'm correct. Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Flint. They got monitors coming here. So we talking about when the actual election happened in November. You really think they're not going to try to disqualify our votes? And we got to have people that's willing to step up and speak up. Haley Stevens was on Morning Joe 2 days ago. Let me tell you what she said. Boldly, boldly, I say this. She was on there with Senator Peters, who endorsed her, because she said, well, I can't wait to get to the Senate to work with Senator Warnock and Cory Booker on the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Did she say the right thing? Absolutely. She said it before millions of people. You got to be bold to do that. She said that. Now, I ain't hear nobody else say that. And if they are, hey, 313-365-7379. Call in. Call in and tell a friend. Haley Stevens said that. You think she ain't going to do that? She about that. We got to have people that's going to fight for us. We got to stop falling asleep and falling for the banana in the tailpipe. The 13th Congressional District Congress race. 3 people running. Jonathan McKinney, Sheree Tanadar, and Mary Waters. And they said it was 4th candidate. I haven't seen him yet. Them 3 I know for sure. So we have to determine, as a group, we must determine who is more qualified to represent us in the 13th Congressional District. Let me give you a little history that I know about. 1969, John Conyers, God bless our ancestor, his soul. He always, I'm sorry, I think it was 1989. I apologize. I think it was 1989, 1988. He introduced what was known as Bill 40, 40 acres and a mule representing reparations of slavery. John Conyers did this now. Listen, John Conyers did this. John Conyers was approachable. John Conyers did for the people in general. Unequivocally, this is true. We knew that he was going to be the voice for the city, Highland Park, which is part of the 13th Congressional District, or any other people that's affiliated with him. He was their voice. Can we say that now? As I got a statement I use, ask you, what have your politician done for you lately? Right? And this is something we got to really ask ourselves. We cannot be playing with what's going on right now. These people are serious about eradicating black rights, period. Right now, we had probably the 1950s, 1960s, right? If it's up to them, we put the wrong person that's not going to speak for us and be bold about it, period. Black people, wake up. Wake up, stop playing. You think they're not serious? What else do the man need to do? We cannot afford to let our votes be wasted on some experimental person who's never really done nothing for black people when they had the chance to. Period. Not even really speaking to our issues. But let's go. I just want to read this to y'all. And you tell me who you think this is. I'm going to read what their credentials are. The architect of $203 million housing initiative that included down payment assistance for first-time home buyers, dedicated call center for those seeking housing, home repairs, established was a K.Me. Davis Family Resource Center, 11-month baby who fell through a hole in the floor and drowned in water and feces, secured money to create a senior center, renovated Northwest Activity Center and steam room and sauna for seniors. Created a veterans department. Created Next Up 313, a young entrepreneur program to assist them in starting, growing, and sustaining a business. Deed fraud established a pilot program to assist residents in protecting themselves from deed fraud. Chair, skilled trades, assisted people with career opportunities. That's important. Chair, retired task force lends a voice to city retirees that assist them with their issue concerns. Chair, minority business task force educated residents on how to become vendors with the city. Sponsored a resolution to help create a gun-free zones for large events, which we need that. Sponsored tenant right commission ordinance. Sponsored compliance ordinance that helps to hold landlords accountable. Sponsored rental application fee ordinance. place a cap on application fees, create a union apprentice program, create a senior accessibility program, a program that installs ramps, rails, shower assistants to allow for the ease of mobility, fought against landlord value tax, fought against land value tax, assisted residents with completing their application for owner's assistance, champion land bank issues on behalf of residents. Former UAW Local 2500 organizer BCBSM, member AFT, member DFT. Who y'all think that was? Everybody run for Congress. Who do you think that was? That was Mary Waters. Now I said this last week. If you have the receipts, call in and share them. Them the only receipts I got. Now again, I'm gonna say what I said last week. When you hear that, you would think that person is already in Congress. Have she earned the right to be in Congress? Voters, that's up for you to decide. But you heard the resume. Facts. Whenever I'm always evaluating what type of politician I would want in power, right? I would want somebody that has a resume that has proven to work for the people. Power to the people, because the people is the power. Again, power to the people, because the people is the power. Facts. And Mary Waters' name is not on the ballot date, but you go on it when you're voting. You go to the 13th congressional district, and you have to write in Mary Waters, MaryWaters, Mary Waters. That's her credentials. Now, if somebody want to send me the other people's credentials, please feel free to. And I have requested them. Please do that. Please send them. But I'm just telling you, Mary Waters is a black woman. But we cannot be afraid to put people in power that's going to address our issues. Now I want to address another issue. I know people, I'm seeing people having a real issue with individuals who've gotten money from AIPAC running as a politician or kind of want to boycott against them. So I had to really self-evaluate. And I asked a homeless guy, and I said this, I'm going to share it with y'all. Because if you really want to know what's going on in the street, go talk to the people that's in the street. So I asked the homeless guy, I said, hey, man, let me ask you a question. You out here homeless, and I gave, I always give dollars to homeless people. I'm just, and I'm not saying that to be braggadocious. That's just who I am. So I say, if somebody came to you and told you that they received money from AIPAC, or AIPAC gave you the food you was about to eat, would you eat the food? And the guy looked at me, he said, what they got to do with it? Listen to what I'm saying. The brother said, what they got to do with it? And I looked at him, I said, oh, that's powerful. Do you think, and the reason I'm saying this, now, I know there's a broader political concept about AIPAC, that some people are saying that AIPAC is helping fund the genocide in Gaza. They call it the genocide in Gaza. I say, okay, in Lebanon. And so they want to boycott any politician that gets money from AIPAC and not have them get in office, and that's what they want to do. So I begin to say, okay, well, we black people, I'm speaking in general. We have never supported anybody that kills innocent children. Any type of, we don't support that. But let me say this, with respect, I say this. We have our genocide too. In fact, let me share it with you on the video. Because I want to talk about the genocide of African Americans as well. Because we can walk and chew bubble gum, right? We can do that. And this is why I said that we need people in there that's not just going to want to focus on one side of an atrocity, have to focus on our atrocity too. So catch the video, the Rosewood. Yep. Watch this video.
DemocracyNow.org, The Quarantine Report. I'm Amy Goodman. This Monday, Memorial Day, marks the 100th anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre, one of the single greatest acts of racist terror in U.S. history. In 1921, the thriving African-American neighborhood of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was known as Black Wall Street for its concentration of successful Black-owned businesses before it was burned to the ground by a white mob. The violence grew from confrontation at the Tulsa courthouse, where whites had gathered to abduct and lynch a jailed Black man who'd been wrongfully accused of assaulting a white woman. Black residents of Greenwood arrived to stop the lynching. Gunshots erupted, after which the white mob set upon Greenwood for 18 hours of mass murder, arson, and looting that would become known as the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. An estimated 300 African Americans were killed, over 1,000 injured. 10,000 were left homeless as the racist mob, some of them deputized and armed by Tulsa law enforcement, along with members of the Ku Klux Klan, terrorized the Black population. Airplanes were used to drop dynamite and crude incendiary bombs on Greenwood, ultimately burning over 35 city blocks. Over 1,200 homes were destroyed, along with countless businesses. The actual number of dead will never be known, as bodies were tossed into mass graves or thrown in the river. Last week, a House Judiciary Subcommittee held a hearing to address the ongoing impacts of the Tulsa Massacre. 3 African-American survivors testified in favor of reparations. Viola Fletcher, her younger brother, Hughes Van Ellis, who's 100 years old, and 105-year-old Leslie Benningfield Randall. This is part of their testimony, beginning with Viola Fletcher.
I'm a survivor of the Tulsa Race Massacre. 2 weeks ago, I celebrated my 107th birthday. Today, I'm visiting Washington, D.C. for the first time in my life. I'm here seeking justice, and I'm asking my country to acknowledge what happened in Tulsa in 1921. The night of the massacre, I was awakened by my family. My parents and 5 siblings were there. I was told we had to leave, and that was it. I will never forget the violence of the white mob when we left our home. I still see Black men being shot, Black bodies lying in the street. I still smell smoke and see fire. I still see Black businesses being burned. I still hear airplanes flying overhead. I hear the screams. I have lived through the massacre every day. Our country may forget this history, but I cannot. I will not, and other survivors do not, and our descendants do not.
We live with it every day, and the thought of what Greenwood was and what it could have been. We aren't just black and white pictures on a screen. We are flesh and blood. I was there when it happened. I'm still here.
That's right. It seems like justice in America is always so slow or not possible for Black people.
3 African-American survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre making history as they testified before Congress just ahead of the centennial of the Race Massacre this Monday. The Department of Homeland Security has said events commemorating the massacre could be a target for white supremacists. President Joe Biden still plans to travel to Tulsa on Tuesday. This Sunday, a documentary by award-winning filmmaker Stanley Nelson premieres on the History Channel. This is the trailer for Tulsa Burning, the 1921 Race Massacre.
The destruction was so complete. The suffering was so biblical. The betrayal was so profound.
Black communities deserve the opportunity to confront the past.
Our city has been stuck since then. We've never recovered. Tulsa was the best place in the nation for African Americans.
We have everything from hotels, theaters,
doctors, lawyers.
People refer to it as Black Wall Street.
Showing black people that a new world was possible.
The Tribune published a story titled "Nab Negro for Attacking Girl in an Elevator." It was a false narrative to keep black people in their place, to reinforce white supremacy.
All across Tulsa, angry whites are now organizing.
They get their guns, they get their torches.
At that point, they start moving towards Greenwood.
All hell broke loose.
My mother says the white ones are killing the colored ones.
Firing into homes.
Bombs dropping from the air.
It was just an all-out massacre.
Not one of those men who participated in the race massacre were ever brought to justice.
The Tulsa Tribune refused to write anything about the massacre for more than 50 years. Victims were being buried in unmarked graves across the city. The reason we understand the history of the massacre is that certain survivors decided to talk about it.
My mother saw 4 men coming toward our house, and all of them had torches.
We would be looking for the remains of those who were lost so tragically.
This is so beautiful and sad at the same time.
We need to do something about what happened in Tulsa.
There cannot be any justice till there is proper respect, restitution, and repair.
The trailer for Tulsa Burning, the 1921 race massacre. The executive producer of the film, NBA star Russell Westbrook, who played.
You know, when I see stuff like that, it saddens me, and it kind of angers me a little bit. Anger me because if you get angry, you can't think logically and you can't focus. The only one left out of that is the second brother that testified, Leslie Beanfield Randolph. Only one left. So whenever I think about politics, or you know, when I'm thinking of people representing me, I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking what happened to Black Bottoms in Detroit. How they say, oh yeah, well you know what, yeah man, we just gonna get rid of the Black Bottoms. We just gonna put a freeway through there. Black Bottoms was like Black Wall Street. Am I right, Mr. Tyler? They say, oh yeah, Black Bottoms? Oh yeah, you know what? We tired of black people being successful. So you know what? We just gonna wipe the Black Bottoms out and run a freeway. We gonna do that. Period. What is known as Central Park in New York, there was Seneca, a city called Seneca, where black people stayed at. And they woke up one day and said, you know what, yeah, man, we just want to build a park. You know, we just gonna get rid of the whole area. We gonna gentrify it. You know, we just gonna. So I'm supposed to say, oh, okay, you know what, politicians, you ain't never got to talk about reparation. You ain't got to never talk about repair. You ain't never got to talk about Timothy Johnson was killed up north. You ain't never got to talk about you ain't got to talk about none of that. You ain't got to talk about you ain't got to talk about voter rights. Hey, man, let's just focus on what you got going on somewhere. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be fake like that. Whenever I see a black man that's holding on, that's 111 years old, looking for justice. You think that Michigan, black people in Michigan, should not put somebody up there who's going to represent the interests of our people, all the people who was moved out of Black Bottoms, because Black Bottom was successful for black people? And we just want to put people in there because they sound good, ain't doing nothing. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be fake with you like that. And neither am I going to encourage you to support somebody like that. Now, let's talk about money. This is interesting to me. When people talk to me about, well, you know who they get money from? Well, if you get money from an American bank, they sponsor slavery. Let's have that conversation. I'm worried about people that's going to do for black people. That's going to help us, and I'm saying it not in a way that seems culturally superior, but justice superior. When I see you burnt the whole town down, we've been had Gaza in America. Over 50 to 74 towns were burnt down in America where black people were prosperous. We didn't ask you to do that. Rosewood, a lie was started. Tulsa, a lie was started. And then when they couldn't burn it down, they passed a law to justify it and tear it down. Now somebody somewhere got to say, okay, it's time. It's time for us to recognize the blood, sweat, and tears and the pain of African Americans and their ancestors who suffered. And that's who I want to put in office that's going to be bold enough to say that. But at the same time, walk and chew bubblegum and fight for everybody else who faces injustice. Not put our stuff on the back burner and say, well, you know, yeah, man, I dig it, man. Yeah, y'all had 50 to 74 cities burned down. Over 4,000 black men was lynched. Black people were lynched. I think from 1860 to 1950 or 40. Count it. Listen. Count it. 4,000 black people was lynched. I know y'all didn't get no justice, but, man, we finna worry about what's going on over there. We putting you on the back burner. Oh, I know, man. Yeah, you know, immigration. Hey, I agree with you. Immigration bad. Let's have a conversation, family. But when you tell me that you can't help a homeless person that's here, absent race, that's laying on the ground, but when somebody come here from another country and they speak a different language, you immediately find them somewhere to stay. You immediately get them food stamps. You immediately get them financial assistance. But the person that's been here, you tell them, no, we can't do that. Black or white, when you tell a senior citizen you can't get them a lawyer, but if you speak a different language, we got lawyers for you. I got a problem with that. You tell people that's under an unjust system. Everybody knows that African Americans are victimized in the system called justice. But these brothers and sisters cannot find a lawyer to represent them. It's almost like in Eddie Murphy Trading Places when he broke into the place where the guy, all the lawyers was, and they got ready to arrest. He said, anybody a lawyer? They turn around and start talking like they ain't even know. But if you come from another country, they got a lawyer that will represent you for free because you have people that's that's politicians that's advocating for that. And they're not advocating for the right thing when it comes to everyday black Americans and everyday Americans who suffer. I see it. I'm out here feeding the homeless. I don't see no immigrants out there begging for food on the side of the corner. Because they got people, they got programs. You think I'm lying? Look them up. When an immigrant is killed, you got people walking through the woodworks. When a black man is killed, we have to almost beg to come on TV to talk about it. Not by our own. Then the first thing they say, well, you know, you got black on black crime. Well, we got white on white crime too. What you think? White people stop committing crimes against each other? That clear, that slick saying? To make us afraid of each other. Well, you know you got black, then you get black bootlickers on there. Well, you know you got white on white crime too, man. You got Hispanic on Hispanic crime, man. Y'all don't highlight that. That's only a talking point to get me to stop talking about the real issue that affect black people. Period. So let's go. We finna hit the other video. Because I'm tired of people telling me, well, you know, you can't vote for them. You know, they get money from APEC. So are you feeding the homeless? Not getting money from APEC? Are you out here talking to the homeless? Because if that's your grade to determine how you gonna vote, what are you doing for the community? Period. If you say that, what are you doing? Are you worried about everything that's overseas? Okay, let's go to the next video. Watch this. This is fire.
This is the story of one of the biggest robberies in American history. A robbery so big, its impact can still be felt 150 years later. And like most of the biggest robberies in the world, nobody was punished. Picture this. It's 1865. The US Civil War has just ended. The Confederacy is over, and with it, slavery. Formerly enslaved people who fought for the Union during the Civil War had received something for the first time in their lives: a salary. In some places, the military established small banks for these soldiers to deposit their new earnings, and understanding that millions of newly freed people should be integrated into the economic system, Congress decided to expand on that idea and created the Freedmen's Bank. The bank was clearly defined as a savings institution. It would not give out loans, and the deposits would only be invested in relatively safe government-backed securities. It was supposed to help black families earn money on their deposits and increase financial literacy. The bank was initially quite successful, quickly expanding to 37 branches across the country. More than 100,000 people opened accounts. Most deposits were small, less than $60, but the small deposits reflected a bigger hope. This period in US history is called Reconstruction, when black people were promised equality and the chance to build wealth. But none of that happened. A few things about the Freedmen's Bank. First, even though the bank was created by Congress and marketed to black people as a way to safely invest their savings, the deposits were not protected by the government. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which insures most bank deposits in the US, wouldn't exist for another 70 years. And second, despite being created for black people and hiring black people to work in its branches, the bank had an all-white board of trustees. Third, in 1870, that all-white board convinced Congress to change the bank's charter, allowing it to make riskier investments and give out loans. The bank's customers were not told about this change. The board started investing in risky projects and giving out loans to their friends. Some of the trustees were in charge at other banks, and incredibly, they would make bad loans there and then transfer them to the Freedmen's Bank's books. This was corruption and theft, and in a country still dealing with the economic fallout of a civil war, it was also a disaster. A financial panic in 1873 made many of the board's loans and investments worthless. Panicked customers made runs on several branches, desperate to get their money out. And so, in 1874, Frederick Douglass, yes, the famous abolitionist, was brought on to serve as president of the Freedmen's Bank. He'd always been a strong supporter and put a lot of his own money into the bank. The hope was that his presence would reassure customers, but it didn't take him long to realize the scale of the disaster. The bank shut down a few weeks later. It had lost $3 million, $72 million in today's money. But that number doesn't really capture the full cost of the wealth that this money could have built over generations. Instead, thousands of families, many of whom had recently been enslaved, lost everything. Congress did authorize depositors to get back some of what they were owed, but most were unable to be paid, and others spent years or decades filing claims. Meanwhile, none of the men who ran the bank into the ground ever faced legal action. It was a crushing blow to hopes for black economic prosperity. And just 3 years later, the federal...
I got a problem with that. And you want me to worry about AIPAC. I got a problem with that, but go ahead, we got a caller. Hello, caller.
Hi, Tula.
Caller?
This is Amanda. Hello, can you hear me, Tula?
Hello, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Tula. This is Amanda.
Hello.
Hi, I just wanted to call in. Great show, really. It's so sad to hear about this happening, and what's even more sad is that it took 50 years for the Tulsa newspaper to even speak about this happening.
Correct.
And I also looked up Viola, who was the first woman who spoke. She lived to be 111 years old, and she passed away in 2025. But she also, just a quick fact, tried suing the state of Oklahoma, her and the last woman that was speaking, and they denied and dismissed their lawsuit. But Yeah, I just want to say great show, and I was wondering if you could please repeat the Cash App so I could donate to your show again.
Okay, I'll have
And
Mr.
great show to us, so I'm always watching you.
Thank you. I have
All
Mr.
right.
I have Mr. Titus show the cash up at the end. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, in Tulsa.
Always supporting you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
And the Tulsa, Oklahoma Supreme Court shot them down. See, and that's what I'm saying. You got to put the right people in there. That's going. So let me tell you the banks. I want y'all to follow me. For all those who focus on just who get money, let's go here. Many major financial institutions have historical ties to slavery. Let me give you some of the banks. J.P. Morgan and Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Citigroup, State Street, British Bank, Barclay, and HSB. Now, I just named a few. So whenever you come to me as a black man, listen, I want y'all to hear me. And you say to me, well, you know, they giving money. Did you get money from J.P. Morgan and Chase? Is the money you getting that somebody giving you, are they putting money in those particular banks who contribute to slavery and who have not apologized for doing so? The companies that insured slaves for slave owners, are you getting insurance for those particular people? And if you are, man, don't play me like that, man. Don't, let's call it even Steven. Right? And because at the end of the day, what black people want is results. We want results for justice. So don't try to scare me. I get it. I remember Ice Cube said something in America Most Wanted on one of his albums. And I say this with respect. He said, you want to free Africa, I stare at you. We don't have it too good in America. And at that time, I'm like, why is the brother saying that? Because we could do both at one time as opposed to focus all energy on one thing. We can fight for our brothers and sisters in Africa, but at the same time, we cannot forget to fight here. So whenever I hear a politician that's got all their energy focused on two different things and they fail to mention anything about black people and our original Gazas and getting us some type of reparations, how can you in any way make me think you're going to represent our interests? Because right now, at this particular time, they playing for keeps against black people. We're the only people that they wiped all our history out. You can't even talk about it. They're resurrecting Confederate soldiers. Now they sent monitors. Listen, the Trump administration sending monitors to Detroit, Grand Rapids, and Flint. Because, black people, they got to cheat, man. They ain't voting Republican, they cheating. Right? Even though he won Michigan the last election. Correct? He won Michigan, but black people going to cheat. So we got to watch those peoples. Why couldn't you say, well, you know what? Yeah, we're going to send the people. We might send somebody to Detroit, Bloomfield Hills, Warren, Grosse Pointe. We're going to spread it out. No, the three black districts. So whoever we decide to send to Congress, we decide to send to the Senate, we have to make sure as a people, listen, we have to make sure they're going to fight in the interests of black people. And if you think that we get the wrong people in office, they're not coming for black media, something's wrong with you. So we got to make sure that we put people up there that's not just going to have one interest in what they caught up in and also can walk and chew bubblegum and viciously fight for black people. Rub shoulders with them. Not to be afraid to come around them. Don't pimp us for your vote, because let me tell you something that's real, y'all. Let me share it with you. Go to somebody that's a Middle Eastern and say, well, you know what, man? Yeah, we got a candidate we want to run, and we think you should support them. We meaning black people. We want you to pick Abdul Muhammad. This brother has shown black people that, and this is who we want to endorse for you to follow. Go to another community, Bangladesh community, say, listen, man, yeah, we got somebody. We putting up a candidate that we telling you to endorse. See how that worked for you. Go to the Hispanic community and say, black people in this area say, we want you to endorse this, and this is the candidate we telling you to support. Man, they're going to look at you like you out your mind. You know not to even do it. But they always are trying to tell us who we should support. Putting up their face and say, well, we think, nah, man, no. Why do you want us to support the candidate you say to support? Why can't the people choose the candidate that we want to choose? Why are you telling us who to pick? What is in the game for you? Got you this title. What's in the game for you? Then you go get Bernie Sanders out of Vermont, who ain't never, how many black people stay in Vermont? A tic-tac-toe? And he trying to tell us in the city, black people, who they should vote for. Well, I think you should. Barney, what are you doing for black people as an independent senator in Washington, D.C.? Have you put any bills forth outside of voting for bills that's already there? Being that they so-called the father of progressive or socialism, which I disagree with that, the Black Panthers was, if you study histories of the Panthers, they were socialists in the concept of being a socialist. They were. So because Bernie Sanders said that, and AOC, we supposed to just say, oh, okay. The two people who, I ain't gonna say that. So, you know, I'm just saying, and I'm not knocking either one of them. That's not what I'm doing. But we have to have our own mind to vote for who we feel is fair for us. We can't let people just come in and just endorse people and that hasn't shown us through their own actions that they are acting in the interest of black people who had the first Gazas, period, in America. And we have never received reparations. We have never gotten a proper acknowledgement for that. And the only reason that it's even brought up because black people fought for it. You don't see Bernie Sanders saying, oh, give money to, we want to fight for the 50 cities, the 50 to 74 cities, 50 to 74 cities that was burnt down as a result of white rage or racism. Make sure that African Americans get reparations. Matter of fact, I'm going to hold a rally for that. They ain't doing that. So when I see you, I'm going to say, oh, okay, yeah, you got something in the game. So I'm supposed to say, oh, yeah, okay. No, I'm not doing that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how. But I know this. Pardon me. Pardon me again. We have to be strong. And tonight, Donald Trump is supposed to be giving a speech about the elections at 9 o'clock. If you can't catch it. Because guess what? He finna try to, watch. If you think that he's not trying to stay in a third term and sabotage the election to do so or put somebody in there that has an agenda like him, something's wrong with you. Hey, y'all, hope we had a great show today. Mr. Tyler going to show the Cash App. And if you don't feel comfortable doing Cash App, please send the money to the station for the sake of the show. We're asking for donations. If you like this type of political talk, then please donate to the show. If you buy, if you can give whatever you want to give, $1.50, $2, whatever. If you don't want to do Cash App, then mail the money. Mail it. 160 Victor Street, Highland Park, Michigan, zip code 48203. Y'all know I always got to ask Ms. Tyler. All right, y'all, catch me Monday at 5 o'clock on Real Talk with Tula Gabon and Pastor Frank Jackson. We look forward to having you on the show. You know, me and Pastor Frank Jackson always have great dialogue. And you know what I always say, man, stay woke and please stay on your political game. Power to the people, power to the people, power to the people, because the people is the power. Power to the people. Thank you.
If you enjoyed the music, the talk, and the vibe right here on WHPR, we need your support. Help us keep independent radio alive by sending a Cash App donation of whatever you can to $WHPR TV Radio. Every dollar makes a difference. That's $WHPR TV Radio. Support the station that supports you.